My name is CPA Kulwa Mangana, an assistant lecturer from the Open University of Tanzania, Faculty of Business Management. And today we are going to look at the accounting for depreciation, specifically a continuation of the previous session, previous class that was on depreciation. To start with, today I'm going to give an overview of what depreciation is, a recap of the previous session. But later on, then we're going to concentrate on our today's session, which is accounting treatment for depreciation. Giving you an overview of a straight line method, we said depreciation is computed by dividing the depreciable amount of the asset by the expected number of accounting period of its useful life. And remember, I've been telling you the formula for finding depreciation. You'll have to take cost of an asset, you minus the residual value, the difference of which you divide by the estimated useful life. Now, what do we mean by economic life or economic useful life? Economic useful life is not actually resemble or is not actually equal to the physical life of an asset. Now, this is it is the period over which the present owner intends to use that asset. So you're not supposed to confuse these two. That useful economic life being equal to the physical life of an asset. It's very, very important to know that. But again, residual value, what do we mean by residual value? Residual value is the amount received after disposal of an asset. That amount that is thought to be received after disposal of an asset. So basically, if you want to find the total amount of the depreciation or the total amount to be depreciated, you can even take the cost of that asset, you minus the residual value. Now, let us see this example. At least you can get an oversight of what we're talking here, based on the straight line method. Taking an example that we have an asset of maybe it costed $1,200. The residual value or scrap or salvage value is 200. Estimated useful life is 4 years. Now, if you want to find the annual charge for depreciation, simply you are supposed to take 1,200, you minus the 200, and the difference you divide by 4, which is equal to 200, as you can see here. So that's how the straight line method is used to work out the annual depreciation charge for accounting treatment. Now, please note the additional capital expenditure, which are meant to increase the value of an asset, should be included in the cost of an asset. And again, depreciation of those extra capital or capital expenditure should be charged over the remaining useful life of an asset. We are going to see it in the future. But okay, let us come up with another example. Assume that we have a company, that the company bought a machine for $1,000 in January 1996. And then the estimated life of that machine is 4 years. We also going to assume that there is no scrap value. And again, on January 1st, 1997, an additional motor of $90 was fitted into the machine. The expected useful life of the machine is not going to be affected by an additional asset. Now, let us see how we're going to deal with it. Now, as you can see here, depreciation for 1996, you're going to only to take the cost of that asset, which was 1,000 divided by the 4 years. Estimated life was 4 years, of which you're going to get 250. But again, the annual depreciation charge for 1997, you're going to have two elements. One, you're going to have that element of the historical cost of that asset, which was 1,000 divided by 4 years. And again, you're supposed to take 90, an additional cost, that 90, but that 90, this stayed within a company for 3 years, so you're supposed to take 90 divided by 3 years, and then you are going to add in 2. If you add in 2, you're going to get 280. You can pause this example so that you have a recap of what, or understanding of what I am trying to explain here. So, a recap of the other method, which is reducing balance method, which is also known as diminishing balance method. Simple formula for finding annual charge or annual depreciation method, you're supposed to take net book value, you times the depreciation rate. Now, what is the net book value here? The net book value can be found by taking the cost of an asset, you minus the accumulated depreciation. So in the other way, if you want to find the annual depreciation charge, you're supposed to take cost of an asset, you minus the accumulated depreciation, then you times the depreciation rate. Let us see this example again. Now assume you had cost of an asset which is 10,000, and then you have a residual value of 256. Useful life maybe is 4 years, and then let us show the depreciation rate is 60%. So you're supposed to find the annual depreciation charge in each year. So in the first year, where the cost of an asset was 10,000, and if you times the depreciation rate. Now here you remember I told you that because it is in the first year, we don't have any accumulated depreciation. We are going to charge depreciation for the first year. So you take 10,000 times the depreciation rate, which is 60%. You're going to get 6,000 as you can see here. Now when you go to the second year, you're supposed to take 10,000. You minus the depreciation charge for the last year, which is 60,000. You times the difference, you times the rate, which is 60%, you're going to get 2,400. Now remember the formula. When you want to find the annual depreciation rate, is the net book value times the depreciation rate. Now our net book value is going to be found by taking the cost. The cost of an asset, you minus the accumulated depreciation. Now here, that accumulated depreciation is 6,000. If you go to the third year, you're going to do the same thing. You take the cost of that asset, you minus the accumulated depreciation. Now the cost is 10,000. When you minus the accumulated depreciation, which is going to be 8,400, you're going to get the difference, and the difference you're supposed to times the depreciation rate, and the actual figure you're going to get 960. So this is how you see, by using the reducing balance method, depreciation is being calculated that way. So we don't have to go with another example, but actually let us now come back to what is basically our concern today. Our concern today is to see the accounting for depreciation. How are we going to account depreciation charge? Okay. Now we know the depreciation charge is going to be accounted into the P&L, the profit and loss account. But again, there is an effect that is going to reduce the amount of an asset each year. So the accounting treatment goes like this. You're supposed to debit the fixed asset, and you're supposed to credit the bank or the cash account when you purchase an asset, because when you're going to purchase an asset for the first time, you're going to use money to purchase an asset. So money has to go, there is an outflow of money. So an outflow of money will mean the credit of that transaction, that account that is giving money, be either a cash account or bank account. But you're going to add a new asset, which is a fixed asset, because you're going to buy an asset, you're supposed to debit. Let me give you a recap of this principle. According to duality principle, every debit entry is supposed to have a corresponding credit entry, and all the assets have a nature of debit, and all the expenses have a nature of debit again. But all the capital and liability have the nature of credit. Now, if you concentrate on the asset, if an asset is coming in, or if you purchase an asset, you're supposed to debit that account. But if that asset account is going to be reduced, for example, you have an asset bank account, and if there is a reduction in an amount of money from that bank account, so that account is going to be credited. Okay. Now let us continue with the accounting treatment. You're also going to debit the profit and loss account, and the corresponding credit entry, you're going to credit the provision for depreciation account. Now here we are going to have only 4 accounts. One, you're going to have an account for fixed asset, a bank account or cash account, profit and loss, and then a provision for depreciation. Now let us see an example of accounting treatment. Assume that in a business with the financial year ended 31st December, a machine is bought for 2,000 on 1st January in year 1, and then the estimated useful life of this machine is going to stay maybe for 5 years. And then with that example, you're supposed to show one, the machinery account, but second, you're supposed to show the provision for depreciation. Then you're supposed to show the profit and loss account for the year ended 31st December. Maybe you're going to show the profit and loss account for year 1, year 2, and year 3. Likewise, you're going to show them the balance sheet to those days. So you can use both of the methods, because now we are going to deal to see the accounting treatment. Now let us start by using the straight line method, and again we're also going to look at by using the reducing balance method. Now you see, as you can see in this slide here, straight line method in year 1. This is how you're going to record the machinery account. Since we bought this machine account, In year 1, you are going to debit machinery account by that amount, 2,000, and then we are going to close it. That at the end of the year, we are going to close that account by that amount of 2,000. We are also going to open the provision for depreciation account in year 1. So at the end of year 1, we are going to charge to the P&L the depreciation amount. Now, using the straight line method, our asset costed 2,000, and we were given the rate. The rate for depreciation for this is 20%. But by using the straight line method, simply you're going to take that cost of an asset, which is 2,000, you divide by estimated useful life, which is 5 years. If you take 2,000 divided by 5 years, you're going to get 400. So that it's simply that is how we are going to record it. But again, if you go to the other statement, if you look at the profit and loss statement at the end of the year, you're going to only to see at the expense side, you're going to see the depreciation charge of that machinery of 400. And finally, if you go to the balance sheet, this is how we're going to see. You have that fixed asset machinery account, but this machinery account at the end of the year it is going to be reduced by the amount of depreciation. Now we're going to list the depreciation charge for the year, which is 400. Now the machinery cost is 2,000, as you can see. So the difference here, which is 1,600, is the net book value at that point in time. So if you go to the year 2, now again you're supposed also to open. Let us start with the provision for depreciation account. As you can see here, for the year 1, we have record for the year 1, whereby we posted 400. But if you go to the year 2 again, I remember by using straight line method, we also have the 400. Now we are going to charge again 400 in year 2, but our account is going to be closed by 800 because we had 400 for the year 1, and we have now 400 as the depreciation charge for the year 2. Now if we go to the balance sheet here, our fixed asset machinery account is going to be reduced by the accumulated or the amount that is related to the provision for depreciation. And here for the year 1 we had 400. Now when we go to the year 2, we are going to have 800 because this depreciation has been accumulating itself for year 1 400 and the year 2 400, which is 800. If you see, now you can even look at the profit and loss account for year 1, year 2, and year 3. It is going to be the same. That there is a depreciation charge of 400, 400, 400. I hope now you understand. Now if you go to the year 3, you had 400 for year 1, 400 for year 2, and 400 for year 3. Now in total for the third year, you're going to have accumulated depreciation of 1,200, as you can see here in this slide. But again, if you charge for if you go and allocate it to the balance sheet, you're going to less the 1,200 as provision for depreciation from the cost of that asset, which is 2,000, and the net book value is going to be 800. So simply, that is how we are going to record depreciation by using straight line method. Okay, now let us see the other method with the same example, the reducing balance method. Now we are going to open for the first year the machinery account because we bought it or we purchased this asset for 2,000. So it is going to be the same. That machinery account at year 1 we bought it at 2,000. So we're going to close it at 2,000 so that we have a machine in our account. Our account shows that we have a machine that costed 2,000, and then the provision for depreciation. Now we're going to use another method by using the reducing balance method. We are saying annual depreciation charge. We are supposed to take the net book value times the depreciation rate. Now our depreciation rate is 20%. So again 20% by if you times by the net book value here, which is 2,000, you're going to get 400 again. But if you go to the second here, our provision will change. Using the same method, our provision for depreciation is going to change. Why? Because of how we are going to calculate depreciation for the second year. For the second year, depreciation is calculated by taking cost of an asset minus accumulated depreciation, and you times the depreciation rate. Now the depreciation for the first year was 400. Now the cost of an asset is 200. If you take 200, you minus 400, which is the accumulated depreciation, you're going to get an amount of which you're going to times the depreciation rate, which is 20%. Now if you take 2,000, you minus 400, and you times 20%, you're going to get 720. This is the depreciation charge for the second year. But when you're going to account it, you're going to add with the initial depreciation rate for the first year, which is 400. Now if you take 400, you add to 320, you're going to get 720. This is the depreciation charge for the second year. And as you can see, this is how it's going to look like, and this is how it is going to be treated in the profit and loss account and the balance sheet. Okay, now again, for the third year, this out is going to be looked. You're going to have depreciation charge 400 for the first year, 320. You plus 400 of the first year you're going to get 720. You're going to account it for the second year, but again for the third year, you're going to take the cost of an asset, which is 2,000. You minus the accumulated depreciation of 720. The difference you times 20%. You're going to get 976. Okay. So basically, that's in a simple way. That is how we are going to account depreciation by using straight line method and reducing bias method. Okay. Now, after saying so, let us look at another simple concept: the concept of disposal. Disposal of an account. Okay. Disposal account. When you want to sell an asset, there is a way of accounting disposal of an asset. You're supposed to open a new account, which is so-called disposal account. So that this account is going to be used when you want to dispose of that asset. So disposal account should be opened when the asset is sold, one, but again the asset is disposed of due to probably if there is an accident or something else that has happened to that asset. Okay. Now this is an accounting treatment. You can see this table here. You're going to debit the disposal account, and then you're going to credit the fixed asset when the cost price of an asset is sold. I repeat again, when you want to sell that asset, you're going to debit the disposal account, and you're going to credit fixed asset. So by doing so, that fixed asset, you're going to remove the fixed asset amount from the fixed asset account, and by crediting that account and by debiting the disposal account. And then again, you remember this asset was depreciated for some years. So depreciation, you're going to credit the disposal account by the amount of the accumulated depreciation from the provision for depreciation account. And also, when you want to sell now, you want to receive to receive the proceeds or receivable out of the disposal. You're going to debit cash because you have received an amount of money, and then you're going to credit the disposal account. Likewise, if there is any loss with an asset, you're going to debit the profit and loss account, and then you're going to credit the disposal account. Why are you debiting the profit and loss account? Remember, the nature of this profit and loss account is the credit nature. So if there's a loss, you're supposed to debit. If there's a profit, you're supposed to credit. Okay. Now let us see another example whereby you will see the treatment of disposal account. Now in a business with financial year ended 31st December, a machine was bought for 2,000, the same example. And then on January, first year of year one, this was the time period where this machine was bought. And the estimated useful life is 5 years. And in year 4, we said estimated useful life of this machine is going to stay for 5 years. But in year 4, the machine has been sold for this amount, which is, let us assume, 1,070. You're supposed to show the account entry when this account has been disposed, or you're supposed to show, or you can even show the accounting entry for year 1, year 2, year 3, up to year 4. Now you're supposed to show a machinery account. You're supposed to show provision for depreciation and disposal account and profit and loss for year 4. We're going only to deal for year 4. Now in year 4, we're going to maintain our machinery account. Whereby we bought a machine account for 2,000. So at any point in time, our machine account is showing us we have 2,000. But since in year 4 we are going to dispose this account, so we are going to credit our machine account by 2,000, and we're going to debit the disposal account by the same amount. If we go to the depreciation account again, you're going to debit, because depreciation provision for depreciation account was having a nature of credit nature. So you are going to debit the amount, the accumulated amount of 976, as you can see here, to the disposal account. So this is how our disposal account is going to be. Now, take a look at this account. Take a look at the machinery account, the depreciation provision for depreciation account, and disposal account. You'll note something here. All these accounts have been produced for the 4th year. So you'll see in the 4th year, it is where there was a disposal of an asset, So the debit amount of the machinery account, we disposed 2,000 being the cost of the machinery account, and then the contra entry or the corresponding entry went to the disposal account at the year end. But again, we went into the provision for depreciation account, and with that account, there was an accumulated amount of 976 being accumulated depreciation, and then we are going to close this account by debiting the provision for depreciation account and taking that amount to the disposal account. So the difference, if we are not going to dispose, the difference will account for profit or loss of the disposal. Now, since we dispose this amount, this machine for a certain amount, and then we assume that we are going to dispose this machine for 1,700. So you'll see, if you can take a look at this disposable account. On the debit side, we have the cost of a machine, which is 2,000, and then we had and then on the credit side, we are having a provision for depreciation accumulated one, which is 976, and then the amount that this machine is going to be disposed, which is 10,000, which is 1070 or 1,770. So if you close or you balance this account, you're going to have a total of on the credit, because on the credit side is greater. You're going to have a total of 2,046. So you balance this on both accounts, and then the difference, if that difference is going to be on the debit side or credit side, I told you, if it's going to be on the debit side, that is a loss. But if it is going to be on the credit side, that is a profit, because profit has a nature of credit and also has a nature of debit. So here, as you are seeing, that we have a difference of 46 is going to be treated on the PL account, but here we have debited P&L account of 46 amount. This debit amount is going to be credited on the profit and loss account. So we are going to have a profit at this point. So in a nutshell, that is how we account for disposal account. Okay. If you look at this slide here again, you see we have a profit and loss for the year. We hardly know, we are sure, because this is an extract, we don't have the gross profit, but we are going to add gain or loss, but here now we have a gain, because that's why we are adding. We are going to add the gain on disposal, which is 46, and then we are going to less, if you're going to have so other expense, we are going to less the other expense. But actually we wanted to show an extract whereby how we are going to record for gain or loss on disposal. Up to this point, I'm certain sure that you've captured a lot, and I'm confident that you now understand the basics behind depreciation and accounting for depreciation, especially when you want to purchase an asset, and to that point when you want to dispose an asset. So the application of the disposal account, and saying so, I believe you're going to apply the knowledge. Thank you for being with me, and I appreciate that you've enjoyed the session. Feel free to comment and subscribe below. Thank you.